good?
Started it.
So maybe we're live.
I'm not seeing anything.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Hello and welcome. Good evening, good morning. Just generally, hello. Welcome to the 24th broadcast of ADSN on this Wednesday day. My name is Curtis and I welcome you to the show. With me, as ever, is my... that is a black screen, Howard. That is a black screen.
It's not working.
Okay. I don't know if people can hear us or anything. Let's have a look. People can hear us. So people can hear us. Let's find out what's happening.
Okay.
So
Well,
people
in
can
that
hear
case,
us.
in answer to your question, I'm not going great.
We have got a few technical difficulties. Hello, Shady. Hello, Hydrofighter. Welcome
Hey
to the
guys.
show today. Nice to see you there. Nice to see you in the chat. I'll keep talking for a little while and we can kind of work out what's going down. So yeah, we have a jam-packed show this week. Lots to talk about, lots to get on. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We can hear. Thank you, Hydrofighter. We can hear, but we can't see. That's fine. Eon Lake will be looking at that, and I'll just keep on talking for now. So yes, there's a lot to get through on this end. We've got the very latest from TikTok and Ticketmaster from the Uneasy Alliances there. SoundCloud has a new revelation. We have a lot of new gear to get through. A little bit of modular from Eon Lake, as well as some nice free stuff, because we like a bit of free stuff here and there. And then later, we'll be talking about the pro musician mindset and stuff like that, which is always fun. Jam-packed, absolutely. Eon Lake, how are you?
I'm okay. I seem to have brought my luck with me today. Why does this always happen to me?
Well, I mean, why does it always happen to us? I mean, it wouldn't be an ADSN without technical difficulties now, would it?
Yeah, I mean, at least, you know, we got some variety, we got some audio problems, rather than the usual, well, we've got video problems. There's usually audio, but...
This week we have video. Is it something that you think that you can get over there, or shall we just carry on with audio only this week?
I may be able to work around it.
Okay. I'll go for now. I'll go straight into the news, and then we can find out what you've been up to when your mind is not taken away with trying to fix the live stream. How's that sound?
Yeah, okay. I'll chip in bits when my brain has a few spare cycles.
That's what we need to do for now. That's what we need to do. So yeah, let's do with the news, and then we'll work it out what's going on later. So our first and very greatest piece of news this week is that TikTok has made an uneasy alliance with Ticketmaster, which is so what was, I can't remember the phrase that you used last week, Eon Lake, but something like an uneasy alliance as such.
Or uneasy bedfellows or something like that. I don't know. Who knows like that, the stuff that falls out of my mouth when I'm not paying enough attention.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do we ever really pay much attention on this show? That's the way forward. But yes, first and foremost, I'm going to put this link in the chat for you guys listening, so you know what it is we are chatting about. But yes, this is the idea that we have a further integration of TikTok with external marketplaces. We've seen a couple over the past couple of weeks. We have seen some ideas where TikTok has been expanding into things like merchandise sales and stuff like that. And now we have a piece where they have, in fact, made up with Ticketmaster, which has got nothing to do with their first syllables, as far as I'm aware. But yes, they are looking at where now a place where if you are on TikTok, or if you do have your stuff on TikTok, you can link it to a Ticketmaster event with links in the video, and it would allow people to buy tickets for your shows directly from the app, which is both wonderful and terrifying at the same time. Why the hell not? Why the hell not at this stage? So yes. At the moment, this is seen mainly, as you can see, from the guys at the absolute top, Demi Lovato, One Republic, all these people that are kind of like just the big guys. But it'll be rolled out to the rest of the people as we go on. So if you are in fact doing some form of event or ticket sales, now you'll be able to go through TikTok. Sunwolf is in the chat. We can hear you, buddy. Well, I've seen you. You can hear us too. We have a few technical difficulties this week, and we have to see where that goes from now. But 8 a.m. in Hawaii, bro. I hope you're having a great time. I hope you're having a great time. Get some of that sun for the both of us, because it needs to be done. But yes, that is the main thing coming in from TikTok itself. Not too happy about that alliance, to say, Eon Lake.
I wonder. And
now we have no Howard either. I can't hear you, I'm afraid. So it's just me. I think that it's probably just me. I'm gonna just keep on talking for now. Hang on. 2 seconds. 2 seconds here. 2 seconds.
Can you hear me now?
But yes. That is the news that we have here. TikTok integrates with Ticketmaster in its own right. And secondly, we have the latest. So as TikTok expands, as these marketplaces get bigger and bigger and bigger, it is the end, so to speak, for SoundCloud. Our second piece of news for today is that SoundCloud, I'll put that in the chat so you guys can see what we're on about. SoundCloud itself has just laid off 20% of its global workforce. They had 359 team members at the end of 2020, and now that is being axed by a further 20%, which is, well, I mean, we've seen this coming for a long time. I don't know about you guys in the chat, if you guys are ever, or you did, or you still do use SoundCloud or anything like that. When I was a little wee nipper in the beginnings of my music career, in inverted commas, there were a lot of just, everything's on SoundCloud. Everything's on SoundCloud. These days, not so much.
Yeah, personally, I cancelled my SoundCloud subscription quite a while ago when the box took over.
So yeah, 20% of the workforce has gone down, which is a real shame. It's the end of the dying days. Now, despite SoundCloud being the controversial topic it is in that sense, it is an interesting way to be. It has given a lot of rain to a lot of people, and it has been a consistent platform for us all. So I have to see how that goes in its own right. So yeah, we're all right on that front. So, okay, now our third piece of news for today, because we have is the fact that last year 349 pirate sites were shut down in 2021, which is an interesting case, because that means that there are still 349 illegal sites, or there were last year, as in a world of streaming, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, etc. There are still places in the world where we are still torrenting illegally all our music. Now, I'm sure that Eon Lake, Sunwalker and I have discussed pirating and copyright issues at length in a few ADSNs. I'd like to know what you guys think about this idea of cool, people are here. That's very nice. That's what we need to see. We have here BitCloudy says, I guess SoundCloud is still the easiest way to share private streaming playlists with labels, etc. This is very true. If you see through Where a Foxma, for example, they're very big on that kind of thing. And yes, it's nice to see you, BitCloudy, in the chat. It's a great way to see private streaming. Places like Submit Hub, for example, they still use it quite a bit. General listing, though, I'd be curious to see, BitCloudy, are you ever discovering new people on SoundCloud outside that kind of thing? And Shady says we don't use it much anymore. We use it for demos. Now, yes, this is very true. Are they private, Shady? Do you keep them? Is it to send between you and Hydra Fighter, for example, or something like that? Let me know. I'm the same as you. I don't use it much anymore as well. If you go way, way, way back, and the early days before Curtis was a fully fleshed idea, it very much was just all the rough cuts and stuff, as I like to call them. They were always on SoundCloud. no more. I think the last time I uploaded to SoundCloud was Psychonautic Volume 1 with Spectre, and I don't think it's gone up since then. But that might just be my laziness more than anything else. So we'll have to see. So yes, very much so. Yes, back down to pirate sites. Let me pop this in the chat for everyone to see. Let's put this down here. A bit cloudy. No, I only use it to share audio, like private players within my band sharing updated, sharing updated mixes of our recording. Right. Okay. Do you find? Okay, that's interesting. I need to share audio. I mean, that's great. I mean, is it? I suppose I'm curious. Is it, I suppose, easier than like a WeTransfer, for example? I'd be curious to know why SoundCloud of all those things. Yeah, it'd be nice to know. I mean, I suppose cloud and everyone can access it, that kind of thing. Let me know. And Shady says back in the day before we started the label, sending it out to labels as well. Again, another great way to share music is through SoundCloud. So that is another way to go forward. I'd be curious. I mean, nowadays it's Bandcamp codes and such like that. So we can go from there. So. Right, Brian, let's put this in the chat here. So Brian is an anti-piracy. Back to Brian for a second. Brian are an anti-piracy group, and they look at taking down illegal BitTorrenting sites. Now, BitTorrenting is still massive, especially in places like in much of Asia, for example, and it allows obviously people to get music for free without buying, which, in theory, if you are using streaming sites such as Spotify or Apple Music, then you are in fact paying for the music in which you stream. Obviously, you don't own it, so this is obviously still illegal to get music for nothing. I was just curious as to what you guys think about this idea. Now, I mean, most of us grew up in a world where torrenting became quite prevalent, especially with the days of LimeWire, that kind of thing. And I mean, torrenting was massive back in the day, and it still is a thing. I'd be curious to know whether what you guys think about this. Like, streaming sites turned up in a way to counteract the idea of BitTorrenting. So you can circumvent that, pay a small fee, stops you downloading movies, stops you downloading songs as they are. But evidently, that hasn't been the case. So I'd be curious to know, is there ever a way to end pirating? Is that ever going to be? I mean, obviously, it gives us musicians, it gives us a bad time because, you know, we're not getting funded for our music. On the flip, it does spread our music, but I can't think any of us could say that people getting our music for free is a good thing.
Are they really still finding this?
I mean, this is still in 2022. We're still waging a war. Or I don't want to be grandiose about it, but we're still fighting these piracy ideas. Is there any way in which we can get around it? Is there always going to be a window for downloading music illegally? Is that just the unwinnable war, to put it incredibly grandiose terms? Yeah. So let me know what you think. So we can go on from there in its own right. So yes, we can see that for a second. So, Bit Cloudy in the chat saying data is replicable. As data is replicable, wow, my words today, replicable. That's a great word of the day for me. It's so easy. I can't imagine a way of ending piracy. Really, it's a very good point, Bit Cloudy. And completely agree with you on that one personally. In the day and well, we have YouTube to MP3 extensions in Chrome, fully sanctioned and fully okayed by Chrome. Just quickly downloading a track from YouTube is so easy. that even we don't even need to know how to BitTorrent these days, and you're free from everything in terms of any form of viruses or any form of malware on your computer. It's so easy, and I don't want to say encouraged, but I mean, when you've got tools at your disposal that are so easy to use and so accessible, it's never going to be the way. The question then, as it digresses, the question at that point becomes, at what point do we do in that situation? Do we just embrace it? Like, is there any way in which we can get things done in order to make it work for us, or do we just hello Howard, or do we just that's a lot of feedback, Howard.
Did you like that?
I loved it, mate. I loved it. I can hear you now. How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, welcome to Audio Nautic Deep Space Network Blind Psychedelic Edition. What the hell? I'm sorry, dude. You're amazing. You just keep talking. Mate, I'm not needed here, surely.
I know. I bloody need you here, mate. That's okay. Well, it would not be ADSN if it did not have technical difficulties. Some opera is having a whale of a time in Hawaii, it seems. And
you'll be loving this as well.
You will be loving this as well, exactly. Bit Cloudy calls it a sound collage, and yes, that is a wonderful way of looking at Bit Cloudy.
I might have to sample that and stick it in the track.
I'm going to go back through and just cut this. It's somebody composing on the fly. Nice one, Hydrofighter. Yeah, completely and utterly. So we have to see on that front. Yes, nice to have you here. Nice to have you back, Howard. How the devil are you, sir?
Well, I've had better days, if I'm 100% honest, but yeah, I'm okay. Usually this is the fun part of my week. I'll manage to do something about that.
Well, no, this is still fun. Let's face it.
I was actually listening for a bit there. I'm actually still finding illegal MP3 sites. Did I hear that right? Is that what that news article was? Yeah, because I thought Lars Ulrich had dealt with that years ago.
We did do, yeah, but and it's still going. Like, I mean, I've got, I still have I don't use it anymore, but I still have a browser, a Vietnamese-based browser, which has an ingrained BitTorrenter, so you can just download videos on the fly. Chrome have an extension where you can just do YouTube to MP4 and YouTube to MP3. Like, this stuff is not even BitTorrenting at this stage. This is just ripping from the internet. I mean, pretty mental, huh?
That is. I mean, where are these servers located? How are they avoiding capture? It's mad. Were they off? Are they in Russia or China or something?
Well, there's a couple of countries, as far as I'm aware, which are a bit more loose with what you can do with servers. Like, there's a couple in Scandinavia. As far as I'm aware, there's a couple of countries in Scandinavia where the server laws are a lot more fluid than, say, here in Europe, where you can't really decide, or anyone. It's a bit more free game, a bit like the Switzerland of data, really, if you think about it.
Right.
And so these places keep popping up, and so you can find these sites and these servers keep getting shut down, but then they just pop up somewhere else. It's like whack-a-mole, essentially. That's kind of how it works.
But it makes you wonder what kind of money there is in it to actually go to the hassle of doing that all the time.
I know what you mean. I mean, apart from ad revenue, I feel, I mean, from what I understand and from what, like, I mean, growing up with the likes of Pirate Bay and stuff like that and Kick-Ass Torrents, these people just genuinely care, or they feel like they are fighting the good fight, in inverted commas, where information should not be. It's still information should not be behind the paywall, and so that started where it started with information, and like around the same time as WikiLeaks, and that's kind of extrapolated into that. And now you can just get a film for nothing.
Crazy.
I mean, a bit Cloudy was saying in the chat while you're doing your thing, I'm not quite sure if you caught it, he was saying that because data is so easily replicable, you can't imagine a way of ending piracy to any degree. Would you agree with that, or is there anything, or would you have something to say about that?
Well, that makes me wonder about NFTs and whether or not they've come along to save the day in that regard. You know, that they provide some sort of, you know, forensic trail from an IT point of view. That if you do, I suppose it's always going to come down to, having said all of that, it's always going to come down to whether or not you have a relationship with a country where the person is. You know, I think cybercrime has capitalised on poor extradition arrangements for years. You know, and if you don't rub that sort of problem out, even being able to empirically track the origin of files and everywhere they've been and so on, and how they've been duplicated to a person, or even then they could be hiding somewhere where you can't do much about it. So it's the same old problem, isn't it? There are some places that are still I don't know, kind of off net from capture point of view.
So okay, so take a scenario where people are downloading your album illegally. I mean, is it something that rubs you up the wrong way?
Do you know what? I don't know. I kind of think I'd need it to happen to form the opinion. Right. I suppose I'd be against it. I know you might not, but you know, if I wanted to give it away, I'd give it away, and sometimes I have. But yeah, I don't necessarily like someone making that choice for me.
Yeah, no, I get that completely. I get that. If it's our stuff, and if we want to give it away for free, we can give it away for free. But I mean, there's a reason we put a price tag on it, isn't there?
Yeah, and that being said, you know, I don't know, if you're gonna give it away, I just don't want that decision made for me by somebody else. Basically, it just that doesn't rub me the right way.
Yeah, it's not. It's your blood, sweat, and tears.
It's the thought that counts, isn't it? And it's still theft, however you look at it. You know?
That is a very good way of putting it. That is a very good way of.
They're not doing it to help me, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're small fry. We're very small fry. I like to think that people would buy my track for £1 if they wanted to, because you know, I could do it with £1 every now and then. Ultimately, it's still a thing in 2022, and I do agree with BitCloudy in the sense that I don't think it'll ever go away. It's just the ugly behemoth that we have to kind of really deal with. So yes, that's always the way. Before we move on, I was just wondering, before we move on, I got a message from Sunwarper, who is sitting on a beach in Hawaii, sipping a pina colada. He's tuning in to listen.
Brother.
Some people have got all the luck, haven't they? Really. He was just wondering, is the browser for Google Meet can't be full screen on your end? Is it full screen at your end?
Do you know, that might be what it is. I don't want him saving the day from the beach. That's not right.
He's never going to let us live it down.
He told me that as well. He did tell me that.
If that's what saves the day, that dude deserves his own hoodie. We'll see. Have a look at it, and we'll keep going for now. While we go from there. Okay, we'll go from there. Tell me then, before we go into the sections of gear. Say that one more time, Howard.
It's not that.
No, sorry, mate.
Don't know if I'm happy about that or not.
We are gonna. We'll see. We'll see. We'll continue with an audio-only Audionautic. I mean, we are audio-based, so we're going to keep audio.
Yeah, we've got the emphasis. It's capital audio this week.
We have not had a single. So we might have had technical difficulties, and we might have had issues with scheduling every now and then. But this is the first time in 2 years before that something like this has happened, which makes sense because our next show, next time, is our anniversary episode, which is, there you go, that kind of makes sense in a way. We had to get something in before we did it.
And the great thing is, I won't be around to screw it up.
Well, no, it will not be a great day. It will be a very sad day because, well, I mean, I know you'll be on holiday, but I love sitting and talking to you each week, so it would not be a great day at all. Where are you going, by the way?
I am going down into the West Country to Cornwall.
Yes, West Country. Look a bit of Kerry. Are you going Kerry now?
Am I going what?
You're going Kerry now. You're going.
Oh, Kerno, yeah.
Are you going Kerry now? Are you? Are you going to have some tribute in Kerry now?
Yeah, I need to get away from it all.
Yeah,
certainly away from technology. I think everyone will agree with that.
I'd agree with that one. I mean, the consistently as I as I talk more with Hydrofighter and Shady, where they purposely take time off away and they go do nature for the summer. I'm like, I need me. So you're always talking about taking breaks, taking away from it, electronics and stuff like that.
I think I need inspiration, really. I don't know about you, but beautiful scenery and so on, inspires me. I need that. I need that connection to the infinite a bit, to get away from the daily nonsense that is all just man-made, and remember that we're like little insects crawling over a rock in a massive vastness of nothing.
What a great way of putting it. What a great way.
That kind of perspective is kind of driven home to you sometimes. If you're somewhere out in the country and it's a really clear night and you could see the Milky Way and everything, you start to feel tiny. And fortunate, more fortunate to be alive. You're more in contact with the miracle of your own existence a bit, and that's the sort of thing I find that inspires me to write music and so on.
I can get on board with that. You got some poetry. You're coming out with some poetry tonight, man. It's a great way. I'm going to go back.
Swear words as well, but most of those were off air.
It's got to be done. I know exactly what you mean. Like. My feet, especially today, especially this week, my feet have not touched the ground. I'm just up at 5, and I'm working, and I crash it around about 11 p.m. and then I do it all over again for literally the last couple of days, 3 days straight. And you get so anxious, you get so tense in your brain, and you worry about everything. And you become so ungrateful. You need to take a step away just to remind, like you say. Remind yourself of just how much and how perspective there is, and how much there is to be grateful for.
Yeah, a gratitude mindset. I know you like to focus on that sometimes. It's when your day gets filled up, you don't necessarily have the chance to actually the presence of mind to think about the stuff that helps. That we are lucky. These first world issues of having gear to make music on but having no time to use it, I find it very hard to sort of carve enough time out to do it. It's I'd have killed to have that problem when I was 18. It's a lucky thing, and it extends to all areas of our life. So yeah, I think taking some head out of backside time can only help you if you're trying to be creative, I think, anyway.
Okay. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so if you're so put yourself in. You're in Kerry now, all right? You're in Kerry now, and you've got. I don't know if you're drinking Tribute or if you're drinking a Doom Bar or something like that. I don't know if you're drinking
Doom Bar.
I don't know. Probably Doom Bar. I mean, that's a good shout. Doom Bar is lush, so I mean, Doom Bar's great. This is not sponsored by Doom Bar. I wish it was though. That would be great. Yeah.
Couldn't get any messier this space.
So yeah. Okay. So you're sitting there. You're in Kerno. You've got your Doom Bar. I'm assuming you got your feet in a creek somewhere, something like that.
Maybe. I might have my feet up.
Feet up. Okay. Feet up. Okay. And okay, what is it? What point? And if there is one point, or if there's a collection of points, where do you get your inspiration from at that point?
Oh, I don't know. You see, it comes from deep within, or at least I like to think it does. And I like to try and encourage you know, subconscious stuff to come out a little bit. You know, a lot of the way that I write, I'll create something that inspires me, and then another thing starts to happen. It's almost like it's trying to open a door. So when I'm trying to find a bit to start a song, I'm trying to find something that inspires me in some way. But once that happens, there's usually something else that piggybacks, and it all starts to happen, and I have to sort of try and go with it and stay out of the way.
Right.
I might be over romanticizing things a little bit.
Never. We're an artist over romanticizing.
You know, yeah, that's what makes me an artist, right? So, but yeah, I mean, I like the stuff where you're not really sure where that came from, but you do know that you like it, and you're having that, you're keeping that, and it makes you think of something else and something else. It's that inspiration, that flow state is what I'm looking for, because that's what I enjoy about the process. If it were just, you know, taking sounds and stitching them together in a relatively cerebral way, I don't think I'd enjoy it in the same way.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
You know, it's that X element that happens when you have people and sound and unexpected things happen, and you know, that's what draws me to it. I don't think that I'm some guy full of magic or anything like that, but you know, if you've played with other people at some point, you'll have felt a spark, you know, if you've played in a band with other musicians, and it's that kind of thing. That feels to me a lot like the flow state you get when you're writing on your own. You've got ideas and you're buzzing and it's going well. For me, it's all the same sort of thing, and I'm just trying to chase that all the time. Really?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. There's something when that spark inside you just goes, when it sparks, and there's something, you know, it's kind of not shady. It's almost misty, and it's quite rough at the edge. It's not quite sure what it is, and you feel like you just have to explore where that thread goes. You know, it's like someone's just tugging at your brainstem a little bit. It's just like
the pull of something else. It's almost like outside of you.
Yeah. And you have no idea where it's coming from, no idea where it's going to go, but it feels right. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's something quite singular, isn't it, about music? I've not really felt that in any other area of life.
I wonder if it's because you can't see it. You know what I mean? Like everything, it's like, I don't know. I'm not a visual artist. I don't create things visually, at least not well.
I disagree, but yeah, I'm gonna.
But but okay.
It's for bullshit, me, but I'll allow it.
Okay, I'll allow that bullshit. I'll take that for now. My point is that, like, for me at least, like, because it's something you hear. Like, okay, so you're making a track, and you've got a pad and you've got a bass, say for example, and you might hear the lead line, for example, and you don't know where it's coming from, but you visualize that waveform. You can visualize that, what it's doing, where it's going, how the LFO interacts with it, and where it's sidechained to, etc. Like, you don't know what will come out of it fully, because obviously what is the fantasy in your head versus the reality at your ability. There's always that disconnect. There's always a little bit of things changing around how you think it sounds and then how it does sound. It's just because you can only picture it in your mind's eye. You have to create that image in your head. Like, you know, the possibilities are endless. Does that make sense? Does it make any sense, or am I just chatting bullshit at this stage?
I think you're more visual than I am, though, from the sound of it.
In what way? Go on.
In the way that you see things. I mean, I hear things, or I know what I want more of. I feel a definite urge to change things a certain way, or to add things, or to tone things down, or to balance things as a reaction to what's going on. But it sounds like you're a bit more visually orientated, where you see something and imagine the music to go with it. Maybe, I don't know, from the way you said that.
For me, it's at least it's I suppose it is a picture in my mind's eye. I hear it and then I'm like, it's a two-stage process. You hear it, and then it's like, okay, how do I create that? How do I make that? And I kind of piece together. If you think of it like a Vital or a wavetable synthesizer, it's like, okay, what do I need to put in place? So I suppose that is pretty visual in its own right. But
sometimes I imagine structures of the music.
What, is in like the whole thing,
yeah,
or like
like, you know, the low end being some sort of, you know, bass layer and different kind of shapes above that and how they fit and interlock and so on. I do sometimes think about things in those terms, but I'm imagining it. I don't sort of see it.
Interesting. All right. Well, I tell you what, Hydrofighter has just popped up in the lobby. Should we hear what he has to think about this whole situation?
Yeah,
for sure. For people listening today, this is the part of the show. We're around about halfway through. Our patrons, who this show is supported by, and we try and do the best job that we can for.
Sorry, patrons.
We appreciate your patience with us today, but it's all good. Hopefully you're enjoying the listening audio show anyway. But yeah, our patrons get access to the Google Meet in which we meet, and historically they can come on about halfway through, and we sit and chat about things. So Hydrofighter, let's get Hydrofighter in here, because Hydrofighter is always a welcome addition to the show when he comes in. Let's see what's been going on in his world. Hello, Hydrofighter. How you doing, man?
Oh, we can't hear him.
We don't have any sound.
Thank you for joining in with today's theme. Nothing works.
Is your phantom power on this week, Hydrofighter? Oh, you're very quiet. Turn yourself up.
It'll kick in here.
There we go.
Bit.
Yeah, there we go. Stay on 48 volts again.
My technical issues are easily resolved.
Yeah. You just did that for me, didn't you? Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know what it's like, man.
See how you guys back us up. Thanks.
You live in the network world, man. The whole system can go down at any time.
Yeah,
it can. Yeah, I love it personally. It wouldn't be. Firstly, it wouldn't be ADSN without technical difficulty, and also it keeps you on your toes. Life, like, you think you've got everything in place, everything's going, then life just throws you a curveball. It's like, you know nothing, mate. You know absolutely nothing. I love it. It's great.
That's what scares me about like doing a live gig with the computer, right? I'm like, if the computer goes down for me, the whole system's down.
Right? Yeah, that's it.
It's like, I could hum you a song for a little while, but I don't know how long that was gonna last.
Because I was thinking, well, you should have a USB backup, right, with an audio file on it of your set, you know, that you've pre-recorded by performing the set, you know, so that it's not just, you know, a dump of a project from a door or something. But then I thought, well, if the computer's dead, what are you going to play it on?
Maybe you got to put it on CD or tape, I guess, huh?
Yeah, maybe have one of each, because you don't know.
Yeah.
Press it to vinyl.
Yeah, you never know. You got to have all bases covered, surely, mate.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hydrofighter. Like, aside from lugging a load of synthesizers everywhere where you need to go, the idea of the technical difficulties. I don't know about you guys. A lot of my cables and a lot of my interconnecting weaving parts I've had since I was probably about 12 years old. So they're half the age of me at the very least. And sometimes there's a Jimmy and sometimes there's a jammy to try and get things to work and get in and a on the socket to try and make things happen in that way.
Oh, I don't have anything like that. That would freak me out, especially if I was trying to gig. I know that it's just luck and the right amount of air on a contact that makes stuff work. That would scare the hell out of me. I mean, usually you just have to think, what if I mess up, you know, but it's like, what if none of this gear works? It's like a whole nother order of, you know, stuff beyond your control.
I mean, it happens. I mean, it happens to me quite a bit. Obviously, I'm a somewhat of a traveling muso. Like, everything I have kind of fits in a suitcase, and like, the idea is kind of traveled around the world with me, you know. But then, and everything can be working fine, absolutely fine. And then one day when I've just come in, you know, I've done my ritual, I've done my thing, I've come in to do a writing session, turn on everything, open up Ableton, plug in the guitar, nothing, dead signal, and it's like, where, why, what's supposed to be going down? And then all of a sudden, it's just, I've got to spend an hour and a half looking for the right cable which can go through.
Yeah, and that's real fun, isn't it?
It's the best of fun.
That's when it really dies on its backside.
But we'll see. But anyway, Hydra Fighter, what's been going on in your world, man?
I have been on a Bendu Bender, I like to call it.
Bender.
Oh,
Oof,
that sounds like a good thing to do,
I've gone back to a couple of his releases. Their performance or practice performance releases called Rehearsal and Rehearsal 2. So they're longer songs. They're super cool. He just shows how a song evolves and how you have to wait to get to another section, and it's gradual. It doesn't feel forced. I think it's watching him in the We're a Foxma, whatever that live show thing was online.
Yeah,
he did some really cool stuff, and he's just got this really natural vibe to what he does. And I've been thinking a lot about doing the whole live thing. So
I immediately felt really unimaginative looking at that. The way you started with that singing bowls and odd noises and contact microphones and so on, and then gradually moved over until these bigger setup into longer form pieces and that. But none of it was rushed. It was all just doing what it wanted to do, and it was
and it's not thick. They're not thick textures either. I mean, he really lets the sounds bloom.
Yeah.
It's really cool. He has a much more creative mind, I think, than I do. He's got more of this like 20th century composer sound of like Gordon Subotnick or Terry Riley type of stuff, in a way where I think my sound is a little bit geared towards the pop electronic, maybe not so much pop, but like the early Warp stuff, maybe a little bit. But so
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I'd like to go that way. I don't have the patience to be that patient.
Well, I don't know if I can. I can lean a bit more in directions sometimes. When people do something that, for me, that's very different to what I do, because I sometimes I use space, but a lot of the time there's a fair bit going on. I think it's fair to say.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Bit like you, Curtis. So, I mean, sometimes I try and go sparse, and it just doesn't happen. And other styles. I mean, slightly more dusky, dirty stuff has become a bit more what I'm doing at the moment. But again, because my stuff originally was really sounded very clear and clean and straight out the box, and I never really liked that. It just sounded a little bit, fresh out of the VST, straight into your ears.
Yeah.
I like things to sound a little bit more organic, a little bit more, I don't know, like you're not sure where they come from, or.
And then he pans it, like not like super hard, but when you pan stuff when you don't have that much texture in there, it really sticks out, and it comes out really cool. I mean, he has like in one song the bass is panned off to the left, and I would never do that just because of. I'm so used to having it right up the middle, right?
So as in the bass is fully in the left can?
Yeah, I mean, you think about it's almost like listening to old Beatles records where they got the drums, all of the drums panned to one side, right?
I mean, that is old school. That is very old school in our front. I mean, I think that's kind of what's brilliant about this community is that there's so much. What a beautiful part of the time that we live in. There's so much to see, and there's so much variety, like. In everyone in the day-to-day, and like the extras that you kind of like dibble and dabble out of, there's always an inspiration to be taken. And so whether you're sitting in the creek with a doom bar, or if you're listening to Foxfest, there's always something that you can take away from it.
And I don't need, I mean, there's stuff that I'm inspired by that I don't necessarily, I'm not going to try and do anything like that. But I find it really inspirational anyway. It still makes me want to go and make music because they did that, and that's really cool. And now I want to make music, not necessarily the same. I'm not probably completely different, but it's still inspirational.
Yeah, completely. I think one thing I'll take out of his stuff. I mean, I won't make my sound like his stuff, but at least I can be patient enough to patient enough to let the songs develop, because you've only got two hands when you're doing something live, right? And I wouldn't feel bad about it not developing fast enough, like we think about pop songs. I mean, these are electronic artsy songs.
Well, the best thing about him is he's within reach. You can ask him questions. So I'm inclined to think that his music sounds like that because of the way that he makes it, and that it's, you know, it's performed to a large degree, and, you know, it's constrained by the fact that it's him and the equipment and doing something, and not trying to rush it probably as well. It's probably part sensibilities, part the way that it's made and recorded that makes it sound like that. I mean, sometimes it can just put you in touch with things that you would like to change about your own music. It could be something that you think you do too much of, or maybe something that you don't do enough of, and your music will still sound like you, but maybe it's closer to the ideal you that you were looking for in the first place. You know, little bits of reflection you see from other artists teaching you more about what you want to do yourself.
He's deep. He's deep, isn't he, Curtis?
Full of the poetry today.
Right in there. Right in there.
I mean, if you want to take this, guys, and sample the crap out of Eon Lake this week, you can have.
I couldn't get a picture working.
I will make you a T-shirt and send it to you for free, because that is beautiful. That's wonderful amount of poetry, completely and utterly. Inspiration can come from the best of ways. Now we are 1 minute past the hour, or second hour. I can't remember what we're on anymore. But I want to get to our round robin in the last 15 minutes, because this round robin, usually I do the round robins, but I came to the Google Drive this week to find that Eon Lake had filled it in for me, and it was a belter, and it was a really interesting.
And the irony of this is going to floor everyone listening.
Eon Lake, as it is your round robin, do you want to introduce the notion? Introduce the idea?
I can't remember exactly how I phrased it, but you're gonna find this funny, right? Because it's about the professional musician mindset, right?
Okay.
So asking this question in the spirit of, you know, we have an extended community, a lot of different people making music and so on, and not everyone is out to replace Billie Eilish and be the next best thing. Some people are just expressing themselves and doing what they do because they feel compelled to do it, you know, like I do. I do this because I really like doing it, and I'm really into music, and I like things to sound like this, and, you know, it's not, you know, I don't expect to be taking over the world or playing Wembley or anything like that, but there are a number of other people that I'm aware of that are looking to make a full-time career out of music, and it's important to them, and they want to ditch everything else and just live and breathe music, and I completely understand that. I've spent many years wanting to do that myself. So the question is, what is it, despite the dictionary definition of being a professional, that makes a professional musician? You know, what traits, what practices, what approaches, you know, make you a professional, and conversely, what things don't.
Okay, I love it.
Wow, that's deep.
It is, again, he on it, man.
Yeah,
bloody on it. Okay, so
learning how to use Streamlabs, I think it's got to be up there. Not screwing up your live stream.
We can make that for one. It's an interesting thought. Okay, so
what's the difference between a pro and a non-pro?
Okay,
I suppose it's primarily your income, your money you take, right?
Whether or not you have another job.
Amateurs do it. Amateurs. I guess from my standpoint, Curtis, did you want to go first?
No, Hydrofact, you go. I always like hearing from you, but you go ahead.
I think I consider myself to be more of an amateur musician, but that gives me freedom to do whatever I want musically and not have to adapt to somebody else's ideas.
That it does.
And I think I figured that out a long time ago once I started getting into electronic music more and having more control over what I want to do versus being in a band and fighting with 3 or 4 other people.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that you can't. I mean, looking at what Sunwarper is probably doing now, and I don't know all of the details of what he's doing, but he's
drunk on a
beach.
He's drunk. He's drinking pina coladas on the beach in Hawaii. That's what he's doing.
Well, right now he is, but in terms of his career focus, I mean, he's doing mastering type of stuff. He's writing songs off on the side. Now, if you're writing songs for commercials, and I have friends who do that, or advertising type of stuff, sometimes you got to do this jingly pop type of whatever stuff, and that just doesn't suit my fancy that much. I mean, I'd rather, like I said, do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we would all love to do this full time if we were in the right spot, but you have to maneuver your way into a role like that. And I mean, if I would work in a studio all day long, my ears would probably be burned out so much that I won't want to do the music that I want to write. That's just a personal preference. Yeah,
it does happen. I found
it's a very interesting point.
Yeah. And I found I ended up listening to very different music. I worked on live music all day, recording bands and so on. And I'd go home and listen to electronic music and dance music.
And thus Eon Lake was born, essentially.
Yeah, because it was escapism, really.
Yeah, it makes sense in its own right. I mean, yeah, you're completely right. Like, you spend all day in the studio, and you are. I mean, I'm a pretty bad example because I have my love affair with Ableton will never end. But I work in Ableton all day, and then I come home and then I open up my copy in Ableton and carry on. Essentially, I don't go outside much.
Do you make it look different? So at least it's like being in a different.
I know. I used to. So like, I have the dark skin for Ableton, and I have my template. And at work, I used to have the light grey. And now they are basically the same. Even the plugins are the same, and they're kind of mouthed, so I can just pick up from one studio and start going to another. I have not helped myself in this situation at all. But they
might not want to.
Well, no, I mean, I'm quite fine with it, to be honest. But they're quite symbiotic. So like, I'll do work here, and then because this room is not treated very well, so I'll do the work here, and then I'll go into the studio, and then I'll finish it all off, and then vice versa, essentially.
What type of work are you doing with this anyway?
I write underscores and soundtracks for TV and film, basically, day in and day out, for the majority of what I do. And essentially what I do is I write. If there's the underscores that you see in the news and the underscores that you see on just TV in general, I write those, and anything from like dark melodic crime music through. This week I'm making ambient atmospheric guitar stuff, that kind of thing.
That's cool, though, right?
I mean, yeah, it is. I'm very lucky to do what I do.
But you're doing this through a company. You're a hired gun.
I'm a hired gun. Yeah, I'm a hired gun. It's not my company by any stretch of the imagination at all.
Well, that makes it even better, though. I mean, that's the stability of you not having to worry about finding that next job for you. They're doing that probably for you.
Exactly, yeah. And this has been my thing that I've kind of, because I've always been doing Curtis as a side hustle. Like, I used to be a teacher, for example, and I was teaching during the day, and then Curtis would always be my thing in the evening to make, like, Feeler Math and Ebbs Flows and Solos all written while I was teaching on the side. And then I got this gig through, they listened to my stuff on Spotify, and they were like, we have a job for you. And so now I do everything. I do that day in and day out. So my mindset has been the separation of the artwork from the product. I make products at work, and they're very in a way, and they're very they fit a point, and I put as much effort as I can into them without overstretching myself. So I have to make a lot of music, like, day in and day out. But it's all a product, because it's going to be listened to at minus 40 dB, and I mean, it might not be perfect, but it will fit the bill.
It doesn't need to be perfect in there. I mean, lots of times they're probably doing voiceovers on top of it too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I've been doing these ambient guitar stuff this week, and I mean, I've been making 4 8-bar loops and looping them over, and then whacking a load of delay in them and stuff like that. And it's quite obviously a loop, but it fits the bill because, like you said, there's voice work over the top, and there's cuts and jumps, etc. And it's all right. I'd never do that for my stuff because, I mean, it hurts my soul, but it kind of goes through. We have a few bits from the chat. So, Bit Cloudy, from anecdotal evidence, I'm amazed how many fairly high-profile musicians also have a day job to survive. Sometimes music related, but often
now more
not.
than ever. Yeah.
Now more than ever, exactly. It took the words right out of my mouth, Beyond. Like, now more than ever, like, it's amazing that the people that I was chatting to someone in the community, who I admire. I've admired since I was like 10 years old when I first got into ambient music, and I've just got chatting to them on Instagram, and they still work a normal day job, and like they're fully like in our community, they're massive, and they still work on the side, and I'm like, oh, so I'm gonna have to do that for my entire life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an eye opener, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Like, go on, Hydrophile.
Do you call them jobbers? People who take any gig they can get, and they can sit in on any gig. They can read the charts and do whatever they need. We call them jobbers around here.
Okay. Isn't people who just do any odd job?
They'll jump into any gig. They can play any type of music, whatever. Throw a chart at them, and they'll
like
figure it
session
out.
musicians.
Yeah, session musicians, more or less.
Yeah.
Except for not really so much in studio as it is live performance. Now I think COVID has probably changed a lot of that, but I mean, most of the guys I think that are doing that around here are still have some sort of a day job, but they don't look at their day job so much like a career. It's just they're just extra income type stuff. These guys don't get paid a lot per gig, right?
No, not a lot at all.
It's not Bruce Springsteen out there.
Yeah, I mean, one of these days. Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that is. I don't know if it was. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to draw on purpose. I don't want to draw generational lines at all. But no, sorry guys. I'm sorry. But okay, so what I mean, the millennials, we have always grown up. I feel like a lot of us have grown up thinking that it's a world of musicianship or a world of artistry is something romantic and is something kind of easily achieved, and it's an overnight success. You go viral, all that stuff with that social media generation, you know. And the truth of the matter is, it's not. It's bloody difficult, and you have to grind your teeth a lot and work a lot of 16, 17, 18 hour days.
It's both, really, isn't it? I mean, there are a handful of people that happens to, but all the other people don't do it that way, and it takes time and effort and all the rest of it.
It's not a generational gap type of thing.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
no, I had the same idea when I was younger, though. Too, I thought I was going to be able to do all this music stuff as a career, and then as you progress, you're just like, well, this isn't as consistent as what I thought it was going to be. So,
yeah,
life
in general is heading away from that. You know, jobs for life existed when I was a kid, but nobody has a job for life now, really, do they? Yeah. I mean, there are always exceptions. Well, one of the things I was going to say in answer to my own question, I suppose the main thing for me is for a professional musician is a daily regimen. Somebody who's always doing something. Whether they feel inspired or not, sometimes, you know, that puts the effort in every day, irrespective of whether or not it's convenient or there's time. They're always doing something. And somebody who's come to realize, as I have, and that doesn't mean I'm painting myself in this, by the way, but that's come to realize that you know, I've forgotten what I was going to say. It's gone.
Have a think on that one. We got a few more bits in there. Have a think before you come back. I'll just read some of the chats while you have a think. Bit Cloudy writes library music. I'm not quite sure what library music is, but I'd like to know, Bit Cloudy. He'd love to do more, even though it's not always as aesthetic.
It's music that goes into a library as such, and you can sort of
stock stuff
to use for sync and so on.
Right. Okay. Well,
yeah, it's kind of like stock audio.
Okay.
At least I think that's what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bit Cloudy.
Well, yeah, let us know. I'd like to see. I didn't. Yeah, I suppose I don't. Library music, stock music. That kind of makes sense in its own right. But yeah, I like your idea of what you said, like Eon, like the idea.
I remembered what I was going to say now.
Go hit it. What are you saying?
Yeah, so it's this myth that some people have that one day everything's going to be, the stars will be aligned and you'll have enough time and money and everything to make music, and then it will really happen and you'll just be churning out music. And we all know that's nonsense now, don't we? You know, if you suddenly start touring the world and, you know, you go viral or whatever, you're going to have just as little time for music as you do now. You know, that's never going to change. So it's about whether or not it's something that fits into your life now and something that you're compelled to do all the time, come rain or shine, or, you know, don't feel like it, and so on. And I think that's one of the main differences, that and sort of having an appreciation, like our good friend Sunwarper does, of the need to have a portfolio career if music is going to be your thing, you know, the need to diversify and to have your hand in a lot of things. And I don't know, I suppose you, to a certain extent, he exemplifies both of those. I mean, he's the man's machine, as you kind of need to be, and so on. So yeah, I don't know. I think really it's not an ability thing. I don't think that some people are born stars. You know, I do think it's an approach thing, that some people are compelled to just do stuff, you know, and they just do it anyway, and, you know, get on with it, basically.
Not to be Sunwarper and comment on Boards of Canada, because he usually's got to chime that in, as much as we like to say Valhalla. But but you know, you think about those guys, they never really toured or anything like that. You know, they got separate jobs because they're not pulling in enough royalties off of all of their stuff to make it rich, right? I mean, and even when I was younger, getting into the electronic music scene a little bit, and I would look at them and their social media, and they would have, I think, maybe 300 or something thousand followers on Facebook at one point. I was like, that seems like a lot. It's really not, and it's a lot for us.
Yeah.
But if you're on the Taylor Swift level, I mean, that's like a dime.
But she's a really good example of my next point, which is what you said about freedom. And that's one of the things that we have at the moment, is like complete freedom. I can go skiffle court anytime if I want to, and nobody can stop me. You know. And if you're going to be a professional musician, right, you maybe have that a tiny bit at the beginning, but then you're not going to have that until you're absolutely huge and, you know, actually get to call all the shots again. There's this massive section in the middle.
A lawsuit against your record company to get your
exactly. Who
tapes
knows
back, right?
what you might have to jump through. I mean, Prince as well, you know, is a good example of that.
Yeah. Again,
you know, there's a romanticism in what we do, I think, that we don't always appreciate, and I think you did quite a good job of highlighting there that freedom, that ability to express yourself, do things the way that you want to, and be genuinely creative, which is probably what drew you to it in the first place, right? Rather than I want to be a star.
You can maintain the purity of your art.
Enjoy it more, possibly.
Enjoy it more, yeah. You're seeing it as a piece of expression more so than a product. Like you know, you're not writing music for. I've done it through Curtis. I've written tracks that I know will get on playlists, for example. Like I know they'll get on playlists.
You sell out, man.
And complete enough to sell out, you know, complete enough to sell out.
I don't know if I can hang with you anymore.
Say it out loud as well.
But then, but I mean, truthfully and honestly, I have, because I want to put bread on the table. Because I mean, for a long time before I do what I do now, I didn't really enjoy teaching, so I was like, I need to get out of this, you know, and this is what I need to do.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
No,
I think it's only really a problem if that's your everyday, is trying to fit some sort of, you know, predefined, you know, early evening with a cup of tea chill playlist mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's everything you do always, then I'd say that's probably a bit of a problem from an artistic point of view. But
exactly,
trying to hit a playlist once in a while is probably common sense, really, isn't it?
I have to at some point. But then you go back through the stuff that I do care about, the releases that I am proud of, and I do like, and they hit so much harder. And again, I think it comes. I think, again, I reiterate, the biggest thing for me, at least, has been that separation of what's going to put bread on my table, and what is it that's going to give me the essence that I need to keep going and keep plodding along until I shuffle off this mortal coil.
Yeah, and you're treated now that very differently, separately.
Yeah,
in fact,
completely.
Ideal.
They are completely separate things. Yeah. We'd be curious to know what you guys watching either live or on the back form, listening back, think about this. I mean, are you a professional musician? Are you a semi-pro? Are you an amateur trying to be pro? What's the mindset that you've had over the years? Has that changed? Let us know. We'd love to know, because we're just three dudes who have some ideas, but
and
obviously
aside
not all
from making sure your broadcasts have pictures on them, because that's a no-brainer, right?
Exactly. We do thank you for joining us into this. I'm staring at the live stream now, and it's black, and I'm thinking that we might as well be in a nebula. I quite like that.
It's a Deep Space Network, isn't it? I'm just trying to give it some
sometimes
vibe.
It's go dark. Yeah, life is tough in space. Like, life is tough. But yes, there is no ADSN next week. Both Sunwalker is still away on his beach drinking pina coladas if he hasn't passed out from alcohol poisoning by that point.
We'll be reading about pina colada shortages in the news.
We will be. And I'm away. I'm in Sweden, so I will be in the wilderness somewhere.
Getting inspired.
Getting inspired, exactly. So we will not be meeting for ADSN next week, but we will be back in 2 weeks for our anniversary / homecoming episode, where we have some exciting new developments over the next year, over 2023, which we're excited to share, and things that you quite possibly can wear. But you have to tune in 2 weeks' time to find out.
Are you getting a new computer finally, Curtis? I'm excited if that's what it is.
I wish Hydrofight. I really wish I was getting a new computer, but the taxation is not allowing me right now. So we'll have to see. But we'll see. We thank you for joining us. Eon Lake, Hydrofight. Is there anything you wish to broadcast before we end this particular broadcast?
No, I should just point out that if you want to be a patron, that's the only way to actually be sure of seeing us. By joining the call like Hydrofighter did tonight.
That is true. You can go across to our Patreon, patreon.com/audionautic. Pledges start from $2. Lots of extras and lots of behind-the-scenes stuff, and the new Star Stream, which has just gone live, and early access to Binary Stars, which I put out yesterday actually. So yeah, there is that. Exclusive podcasts and behind the scenes. So yeah, always nice.
I would like to say thanks to all the guys in the chat for keeping us company and giving us their views, because really, we say we want to know what you think, but I actually do. That's why I'm here. Nice. It's not just to shoot my mouth off. I'm kind of interested in whether I'm completely nuts and everyone else thinks something different or not.
If you're not nuts and I'm not nuts, we're gonna be nuts at some point.
Yeah.
And then I'll be a lot more creative about music in general. Yeah.
I mean, there's a fine line between genius and crazy. So I mean, it's always fun to kind of push that boundary and see where you can go.
Yeah, I think if
you're crazy, you can't tell where that line is at.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
genius is like crazy, but with pictures.
Bit cloudy. Thanks a lot. I've had a nice time. Shady, thank you guys. Always lovely to have you. We love hearing from you, and we love putting this show out for you, and we love hearing what you're going up to. Just to say that again, we do this show.
Finding out a bit more about these people as well. I didn't know that about Bit Cloudy.
No, yeah, it's cool,
nice
isn't it?
Like fill the picture in a bit.
Finding the human behind the avatar is what it's love.
Yeah.
It's velvet. It's always nice. So yeah, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you ever so much, and yeah, take it easy.